Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And you ready to see the most damage that anyone got that at least uploaded onto the What Record website of the year? Well, take it away. You're going to be checking out Cobra Aspect playing in their Tier 9 German tank destroyer, the WT Alpha Panzer IV. I know, right? When I took a look to see that the insane amount of damage that had been dealt, the most damage of the year uploaded onto the What Record website was in a Tier 9 tank, I kind of had to double take. Cobra Aspect plays on the European server, and they're electing to use the 128mm caliber gun on this vehicle. The choice of champions, in my opinion. I personally prefer to use the 150mm on the Borsig, because you still get that whopping heat pen. The 128mm on that tank doesn't have the crazy gold that this tank has. It's the same gun that you get on the Jagdtiger, for example. And I think just having 750 alpha damage on the Borsig at Tier 8, if you're not going to hit those wonderful high explosive rounds, just really pays off at Tier 8. But at Tier 9, you can elect to use 150mm on this vehicle as well. You do get 750 alpha damage, but you lose so much in so many other areas. You lose a whopping amount of damage per minute. You lose a great amount of penetration on both your standard rounds and on your premium rounds. You lose aim time. You lose accuracy. You even lose a little bit of gun elevation. And you also lose shell velocity as well. This gun is just absolutely deadly in these kind of scenarios where you actually get people to sit out in front of you. As we can see, Cobra Aspect is just absolutely ripping apart the enemy team, already up to 2,700 damage in the first 2 minutes of this battle. If there's one critique I have for Cobra Aspect, that is that they're loading full gold, but they're not using chocolate. It baffles me on a tank like this that they've already fired way more than the cost of a chocolate consumable. Now, if you buy the chocolate at full price, it's 20k. However, why are you buying things at full price? Bulk buy them during a sale, and then you can have them at 10,000 credits effectively the whole year round. One of my biggest tips for all of you out there to maximize your economy is to always make sure you're buying your consumables in a sale. And I would be surprised if we don't have a consumable sale hopefully in the next week after Christmas. Probably between Christmas Day and New Year, I do expect we're going to see an equipment sale and also a consumable sale in World of Tanks. So save up those credits, spend all of them in the consumable sale and all the equipment sale, or balance between them. And then if you get into a situation where you ever need credits, you can just go sell them as long as there's not a sale going on for the same price that you bought them. So there's absolutely zero use of having credits in your garage when you could be investing them into consumables. And the premium consumable on a vehicle like this, if you're electing to go full gold and frankly your ammo resupply after a game like this is going to be 100,000 credits, to all intents and purposes, if you'd loaded chocolate instead of a fire extinguisher, then, while you would be a little bit more vulnerable to being set on fire, you might hit a couple of extra shots a game, which will kind of pay off for the 10,000 credits that you would have had to spend, as the gold rounds on this tank are about 5k. So 2 gold rounds, the same price as purchasing chocolate at its discounted rate. You get that 5% aim time, 5% accuracy, 5% rate of fire. And that might allow you to do more than just absolutely whiffing gold rounds at your opponents. Talk about whiffing gold rounds. Good lord, Cobra Aspect is already up to over 4,800 damage dealt, meaning they've completed TD8 for the T20 HTC. Interestingly enough, though, Cobra Aspect is going to do more than what would be required for probably one of the hardest tank destroyer missions in the game, which is TD15, which I think requires 8,000 damage. But when they're going to be getting the amount of kills that it requires to get that mission done with honors, that's a different question. So, Cobra Aspect playing on Malinovka, a map which I just don't really see as much these days, now that their Wargaming has the random events in. Now, Wargaming have noticed the video that I made about random events, and they're looking into it, and I hope that we'll hear some good news soon. If I manage to get assault back for Karelia, an assault back for Siegfried Line, you know what, it'd probably be one of the best things I've done for the World of Tanks community in all of the 12 years. That I have been creating content. So I can only pray that Wargaming are going to do the right thing and fix the Matchmaker. As a short-term fix, if any of you out there can stand playing the random encounters, if you check the random encounters box back on, while you will have to play random encounters, I've been getting a lot more Karelia, a lot more Malinovka, a lot more Prokhorovka, and the random events, they don't really have too much of an impact. On Karelia, they can allow you to be able to advance in and kind of like break that stalemate. Definitely not great for tank destroyers, but at least I'm getting a little bit more variety in the Matchmaker now. And yeah, only really noticed this with the additional 4 extra maps in the last 2 to 3 months that have basically been stripped for me. Still feel baffled that I was slowly going crazy over such a long period of time. But yeah, I pray that Wargaming fix the Matchmaker as quickly as possible to retain the variety. I actually ran a poll on Twitch, and I'd be interested to know in the comments down below if any of you are in the same position as me, that 25% of people actually don't have the random encounters, or should I say random events, enabled. It is on by default, so don't panic if you are someone who doesn't go into your settings at all. But 25% of people, 1 in 4, have elected to actually uncheck that box because they don't want to play those tested maps. And the idea that possibly 1 in 4 players of the player base have been progressively getting worse and worse map rotation over the last year due to Wargaming's oversight, but I would take it one step further and say ignorance. It's just a bit of a concern, right? One thing I would still like to debunk in that video, and I'll address some of the comments, is that a few of the comments were suggesting that Wargaming are intentionally doing this to speed up the game by removing some of the longer maps, which are the ones that are big enough to be able to fit these kind of random events from occurring on. I still don't agree with that at all. I genuinely think this is an oversight by Wargaming, a very significant oversight. But then again, it is something that's kind of cropped up on us with the additional random event maps. We only had 3 initially, and then another 2, and then another 2. And yeah, now it's like a quarter of the maps, and a quarter of probably some of the best maps inside World of Tanks. So Cobra Aspect is kind of doing my commentary job here, talking through the damage that they are achieving. We can see that they were saying 6k, 7.7k. Don't worry, my house isn't burning down. I think Tanya's just cooking. Alarm. Yeah, no, we should be good. I digress. The Cobra Aspect is counting up that damage. This is one of those games that's just kind of like 1 in a million, where you get to just sit in spawn and just dump on tanks. It's not the most exciting playstyle, but it is a valid playstyle. And it's a playstyle that is being effectively stripped from the game. With so many people commenting on that video that I made, talking about how they just don't see their favorite maps, pretty much like me over the last year. Maybe they didn't realize that it was because of that checkbox. But also, that doesn't in any way affect the encounter and the assault removal of these maps as well effectively as they do go in. Oh wow, that's a good hit there, right into the side of the CC-1 Mark II, also setting them on fire, but the premium fire extinguisher allows the Tier 9 Italian tank destroyer to live another day. But this is just that beautiful part of the game where the enemy team are committing, and that is going to allow Cobra Aspect to be able to really start to ramp up the damage. If they hit this one, we're going to be able to say, we can't say it now, mate, you got to hit the shot. We got to hit the shot, otherwise the meme can't be released, right? Okay, we can finally say it. It's over 9,000. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. 9,500 damage, and there's still 8,000 hit points left on the enemy team. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how high do you think this can go? Well, I tell you what, Cobra Aspect has to be a little bit careful here. And that is because they only have 7 APCR rounds left. And that is only really enough to do 3,500 damage. But with that one going in, Cobra Aspect slams 10,000 damage in World of Tanks. Ladies and gents, this is just the dream game, the ultimate sniper game. And Cobra Aspect hits the back of the M2 there to now put their damage total up to 10,500. All right, so now the game is starting to accelerate. It looks like Cobra Aspect's team is finally going to start to make a push towards the hill. Cobra Aspect is going to invest those 801 hit points to really try and do something special here, but oh my lord, IS-5. So really knowledgeable play there. Well, I thought it was knowledgeable play as Cobra Aspect realizes they've got more gun depression over the side of their tank. So it looks like they're actually turning their tank to avoid the big bulge over the front of the vehicle. But this IS-5 will have the reload, and woo, down to 13 hit points. Woof, that was a little bit sweaty. And I bet you Cobra Aspect is happy that the IS-5 doesn't fire high explosive round. Sounds like the Scorpion G just missed Cobra Aspect, but they don't have time to faff right now. 11,800 damage with 5 kills to their name, shutting down the Moistion. This is a game for the ages. There's no way that Cobra Aspect is also going to find this Scorpion G, right? And you might be saying, well, like QB, 11,800 is impressive and all that. It's bloomin' impressive for a tier 9, ladies and gents. But it's not exactly as if it's extreme, right? And the real reason why this is one of those kind of like 1 in a million games, well, it's about to happen. Premonition. Watch this, ladies and gents. Watch this. Watch this. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. 257. Just expose yourself just a little bit more. Yeah, you know what's coming. What happens when a big old German tank slaps a Soviet in the side? Couldn't script it. Can you believe that Cobra Aspect slams a 1,500 ammo rack with the final shot of the game, meaning that they dealt 13,399 damage in a tier 9 tank. And in a WT Alf Panzer IV. Who would have thought that this is the tank that's going to hit the damage record for 2024? Just a simply staggering achievement here for Cobra Aspect in their WT Alf Panzer IV. They spent 158,000 credits on ammunition here. And I'm not kidding. If they took the chocolate consumable there, which would have cost them 2 of the shells they fired in this game, maybe they would have hit a couple more of those shots, maybe more accurately to penetrate, and it probably would have ended up actually saving them more credits than they spent. What a bonkers high caliber of a game, right? 13,399, 7 kills on the enemy team. A Confederate as well as a Top Gun, meaning that they killed 7 tanks, but also damaged at least 6 others that were subsequently killed by their allies. And you know you've had a good game when you have damaged 13 out of the 15 players on the enemy team. So, Cobra Aspect 1, congratulations to you on the high caliber of 2024. This was an outrageous result for a tier 10 tank, let alone a tier 9 tank. And thank you so much for uploading it onto the What Record website for all of us to check out what truly a 1 in a million game of World of Tanks looks like. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Friday, I'm going live all day on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby with brand new drops tokens, so you can get closer to getting your tier 7 premium tank for free. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.